Hey guys, how's it going? It's Al. Week 9 main slate is over, and we're going to talk about the Monday Night Football game between the New England Patriots and the New York Jets. Now, this game is absolutely a hot mess right now, with Bill Belichick playing games and putting like 16 or 17 of his players, listing them on the injury report as questionable. Questionable typically means they're 50-50. Well, maybe they're going to play and maybe they won't. It's questionable. We don't know yet. It's driving me absolutely nuts at this point because we just have no assuredness of who guys are and what they're going to do. So I'm going to talk about this slate in terms of a lot of if-then possibilities. So get your pens and paper out, get your pencils out, and take note of what your if-thens are and know what you're going to do in case. And the Jets have their own injury issues as well. Sam Darnold does not look like he's going to play, which means that it's another Flacco week for this absolutely elite offense that the New York Jets are running under Adam the Idiot Gase, and we'll see if they have Jamison Crowder, one of their top targets, one player who can actually make plays on this Jets offense, and it's just an absolute mess. We'll see what it is. We've had messy island games so far this year, and some of those have turned into very exciting sort of games. This one, the Patriots are favored by 7. The total's somewhere in the mid-40s. Cam Newton does look like he is going to be the top captain on this slate. We're going to break down all of it for you, and I appreciate you guys being here. If you haven't noticed, kind of Friday in the news dump, I turned on the join button down below. We now have channel memberships on this channel. If you want to support the channel so that we can help grow, I can hire editors and people to help me put out more and better content as the days and weeks and months and years go on. That's what we're trying to do here, is improve every single day that we do this. As a bonus, you get access to our community Discord. There'll be a link down below in the description. I'm going to put it in the pinned comment as well. If there's free channels, anybody can come to the Discord and discuss stuff, but there's also subscriber only channels that until now have only been for our Twitch subscribers. Now I'm extending that to people that view on YouTube and join the channel memberships on YouTube. So if you want to be a part of it, if you want to join the VIP, the 2 Comma Club, and get involved in our Discord where people are basically talking, trying to get better at this game every single day, that's how you do it. Use the links, join the channel. Thank you guys very much. Subscribe, ring notifications bell, like the video, leave a reply. You know, I basically gave you one more damn thing to click. Let's talk about the slate. So this is going to be a little bit different than most other slates because typically speaking, you guys know how I break down these videos. It's all about correlation in terms of Showdown. Now Showdown's still going to be about correlation, but we're going to have to do it differently based on how New England plays when they are a favorite with Cam Newton as their quarterback. Newton has more than likely the highest, no matter what projection system you're using, the highest median projection of any of the Patriots that are out there. And the second highest, I think, is probably going to be Damian Harris. So Newton's going to pop in your captain slot no matter what optimizer you're using. For these Showdown videos, I tend to focus on the optimizer at Fantasy Labs, and we build our rules into that, and we're going to kind of have to tweak them for this Showdown because this one is a different slate based on the way that the teams play. One, you know that I typically don't allow I don't want more than 15% of my total lineups to involve a captain at quarterback. I'm going to basically have that same rule for this, but I'm going to alter it because I'm going to keep the same rule in place for Flacco. I don't want more than like 6-7% of Flacco at captain, and he's still going to have one of the higher medium projections on the slate. But like Cam Newton, I might extend to like 10, 15, or 20% allowable of Cam Newton because of how high his ceiling is. Whenever you're focusing on who you're going to play in captain, you really want to have the guys that project for you as having the greatest possibility of ending the slate as the highest scorer on the slate. Typically, that's not going to be the players that are 200 to 1,000, although we did see that with Richie James the other night on, I believe it was Monday Night Football. That's a complete outlier and very much a rarity. And until that happened, it was Devontae Adams or Aaron Rodgers who was going to be the captain, and you were better off having Richie James as as one of the flex players until he caught that like really long touchdown pass. So very rare to have a $200 player end up there. And I know most of the time you look at a $200 player and you're like, okay, well, I can get him in and he might score like 8 or 10 points. And I'm going to put him in captain and they'll get 15. And all the rest of my flex players, I can get everybody else in. But the reality is you need a 30-point fantasy guy more often than not if you're going to win a showdown slate as your captain, which means they're going to total up for 45 plus points. And then you fill in the flex with everybody else. So Cam Newton, a very viable captain on this slate. Now, typically speaking, we like to stack our quarterback in two ways. One, I build two stacking groups. The first one is Cam Newton with all of his pass catchers. But I know they haven't won a lot of games this year, but the ones that they have won, he's thrown it less than 30 times and he's run it a ton. He's running it a lot, especially in games where they're playing from ahead. So there's not that much opportunity for him to throw for touchdowns. He's thrown for 2 so far this year. Now against the Jets, could he complete multiple touchdown passes? Yes, he definitely can, but I'm probably going to bring my rule down for Cam Newton. I'm going to make a separate rule specifically for each quarterback this time, instead of using the group rules, that it's going to say, okay, pair Cam Newton with at least one of the pass catchers on his team, and I may even limit it to 2, and I'll be okay with just having running backs end up in that group. So that's not going to be Harris. Yes, it's going to be Myers. Edelman's on IR, so he's not there. Bird, yes. James White, yes, would be in that group. Harry's still out. Burkhead, if you want to include him, but I probably wouldn't, but I'm not going to X him out if he gets there. And anybody else that you see. So like, I don't think that we need to have 2 of these 3 guys in every Cam Newton at captain group. But I am still going to build that bring back group if I have him at captain, including, I am going to include the kicker in that group as well. But we're going to talk about, let's say, Jamison Crowder, who I mentioned in the intro, right? Every game that he's played this year, he has had double-digit targets in every one of those games. There's a certain way that this offense runs, right? This Adam Gase offense, like it hated, I personally hate it, but like the way that this offense runs is that it funnels an awful lot of targets to the slot wide receiver. So Jamison Crowder, a very good slot receiver, ends up getting a ton of looks, and they're highly convertible throws, targets into catches because of their low ADOT, low average depth of target. So DraftKings being full PPR, you do have a great chance of getting Jamison Crowder if he can rip off some yards after the catch, which he is quite good at. Obviously against Miami, only got like 7 average yards per reception. Every other game he's been around 14, 15. That's about where he's been in his career as well. So expect that to bounce from that Miami game. New England's best defenders are on the perimeter, like Gilmore, and he does not travel into the slot either. So he's going to be matched up on either Jeff Smith or any of the other guys that are on the outside, Mims or whomever. But Jamison Crowder is going to run free on the short routes over the middle. So Jamison Crowder would definitely be in that group. They expect him to play. Again, he's a if-then statement. If he doesn't play, then he becomes Barrios, essentially. So he's one of the ones that's questionable. They expect him to play. We're going to include Flacco in that group. We're going to include every offensive player that we think is going to touch the ball a ton. LaMichael Pirine, I think they need to find out what they have in this kid, but they keep wanting to run out Frank Gore a ton. I don't know what to tell you guys. Like we talk about assuming rational coaching, right? Well, if a coach was smart, they would do these things. And I'm not going to go out and say, you know what, me who has never coached a football game at the college or NFL level is not going to say, you know what, I clearly know more than the guys that are coaching games in the NFL, because that's just not true. But I do know that there are NFL coaches who do rational things, and Adam Gase is not one of those coaches that does rational things like have a throwaway season and let's find out what we have in this rookie running back to see if we need to replace him in the offseason or not. So and not play a 37 or whatever year old running back 10 carries, 15 carries a game. Like, he doesn't need those touches. You need those touches going to Pirine to see if you can actually develop the kid, but it is what it is. If you want to include him in that group, I'm fine with that. Not going to include the kicker in that group. Perriman, if he's back, now obviously becomes a guy cleared concussion protocol. We'll see. He's not on the injury report. It just muddies everything up because of all the guys like Mims, who they should be taking a look at, Perriman, who they should be taking a look at, Jeff Smith, I think they know what they have, Crowder, I think they know what they have. What it does is it muddies up the snap count for these guys and makes a lot of the other receivers a little bit more difficult. Like I said, Herndon, somebody that I think that they've used poorly. I don't know how else to put it. Herndon is a deep threat tight end. He's a field stretching, seam running tight end. The new type of tight end that you want in the NFL, not exactly a pass blocker, but not a full-on H-back. He's kind of a hybrid, can get down the field. He's not just a 3 yards in a cloud of dust, catch the ball, fall down sort of tight end. They've just used him horribly, just like Adam Gase has used everybody horribly for the last few years that he's been a coach. As soon as players get out of Gase's system and go to some other team, they blossom. right? Or he gets fired from Miami and like you see Parker turn into a stud, and you see Tannehill turn into a stud when he goes to another team after leaving Gase. Everybody that's left Gase has done outstanding. I can't wait until he's not the coach of the Jets anymore, or Darnold gets away from him to see what he can do. But that's a whole other conversation. So Cam Newton, we're going to group with those guys. I don't know if we're going to have to use very many captains, and I may extend my Cam Newton, ownership at captain much further because of it. So other guys that I think are viable at captain on this slate, and there aren't that many. One of them would be Jamison Crowder, who, if healthy and in the slot, is going to rack up a ton of targets and probably going to get you a bunch of catches, especially considering that they should be chasing in this game. Damian Harris, who has taken over we always call it the LeGarrette Blount role in the offense. He's going to carry the ball. He is not going to be involved in the passing game at all. That's always very dangerous on DraftKings, but he does have inside the 5 carry upside, I'd say. However, that can get vultured when you have somebody like Cam Newton in the way that they run him around the goal line. At least you do have touchdown upside with him, and he's been very effective when he's been fed the ball. 6.4, 5.8, and 5.9 yards per carry in the last 3 games where he's touched the ball over 10 times per game. So when they feed him the ball, he has been very, very good. If they play from ahead, and as bad as this Jets defense is, I think that he is a very viable captain. I'm not going to pair him with Cam Newton, but I'm not going to say that Cam Newton can't be in the flex of those lineups. I might correlate him with the Patriots defense, knowing how bad that Jets team is. And I'm not against going with a 5 New England lineup with 1 pass catcher on the Jets, or just Flacco from the Jets. Although I would rather the upside of a position player, a wide receiver, or a running back. I just don't think that they have any running backs that are worthwhile. So let's go take a look over at Fantasy Labs. We're going to open up the lineup optimizer, and the projections right now, I'm recording this on Sunday evening, right before the Sunday night game. Not really all that important. You can go to your templates. I already have a showdown slate saved, based my general lineups for showdown slates. And these are the ones that we always talk about, right? Pair your captain quarterback with at least 2 wide receiver, tight end, or kicker from the same team. Pair your captain quarterback with at least 1 quarterback, running back, wide receiver, tight end from the opponent. Pair captain wide receiver with exactly 1 QB from the same team. Pair captain tight end with exactly 1 quarterback from the same team. I will keep these rules for this slate for New England. Like, if one of the wide receivers or tight ends, I'm not going to think a tight end's going to do it, but if a wide receiver has a big day for New England, it's likely also that Cam Newton had a big day. If somebody catches 2 touchdown passes for 7 catches for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Cam Newton also had a good day, and I want him tied to him because they correlate very well. What I'm probably going to do is I'm going to exclude only New England, and then I'll build separate rules in the player correlations. If Cam Newton is my captain, then include one of this group, at most one of this group, or at least one of this group, and be very specific with it, instead of leaving it for at least 2, which I normally leave for quarterbacks who throw the ball and complete passes a ton. So like that would be one of the changes that I'm going to make for this. Obviously, limit to at most 1 defense or kicker from the same game. I may expand this to 2 from the same game, and then also build a different group that does not allow more than 1 of the Jets kicker or Jets defense to be in the same lineup. I don't want lineups that have both defenses. I don't want lineups that have the Jets defense and the Patriots defense. I don't want the Jets kicker and the Patriots kicker, but I will probably allow for this slate the Patriots defense and kicker to be in the same lineup, because it's going to be tough to find different players. But for right now, let's just leave it to at most 1 for the sake of this video. Apply settings. We're going to exit the settings part of it. We're going to build, let's just say 100 lineups, and we'll go through and build it by points. You can build these by ceiling. You can build them by the ratings. You can build them by basically whatever you want under this drop down. Points per salary. You can build it by projection, rating, floor, ceiling, or projected points. The median projection is just here on the points. If you want to build it by what their edge is versus the field, that would be their projected plus minus or points per salary. All those are your options, and they give you different lineups. So as we've said, we're going to take a look at the captain spot. I've limited 15 for Cam Newton. They put in about 17 because it's going to prioritize building lineups over exactly hitting your min or max that you set. I've got 9% Flacco, 24% Jacoby and Myers. It's a law firm out here in California. Anybody from California understands the joke. Demir Bird, Mims, Perriman, Flacco. Crowder's way down here at 3. I may boost him if I feel that he's healthy and ready to go. These are all things that you have to do. As I always say, it's not a vanilla thing that you can just go to the site and click build you X amount of lineups and then all of a sudden you're going to print money. It takes a lot of work to make the optimizer dance and do the things that you want it to do. Make sure that you're telling the story that you want and having the lineup builder build those lineups for you. You don't have to build them all at once. You can build 20 like this, 20 like that. If you think that the Jets might take this game away, build some lineups that tell the story of the Jets playing from ahead. How are they going to get there? And what are the Patriots going to do to try and chase? Adjust the projections thusly, and then build another set of lineups for that game scenario. So it does take a lot of work, but it does save you time over trying to enter these lineups by hand if you're mass multi-entering. And if you haven't tried the mini-max games, it's extremely important to try and see if it's a skill that you have. So best of luck to you guys. I appreciate you being here again. Look out for another video right here.
He's a legend.